What's going on, ladies and gentlemen? You know what time it is. You either get right or you get left. Hey, it is the preseason finale. Miami versus Atlanta. We're on the road down in Dade County, and we're getting ready to get it in, man. What's going on to everybody out here on this great payday, better known as Friday, another day before the weekend? Hey, gotta enjoy that. Gotta enjoy the weekend. But it'll be even better with the Falcons win this weekend. And then you still have college football starting back. Today we're gonna talk a little bit about the Dolphins. Hey, we're on the road again, as I said before. But before we get this show started, please go ahead and hit that like and subscribe button for us. We got you covered because this is the lifeline of the show. This is how we keep these lights on. This is how we keep everything going. So, we're going to go ahead and get started with the pregame show, and we're going to talk a little bit about what the heck is going on with these Falcons at this point. This has been an interesting preseason. We've had quarterback drama. We've had so much that has been happening with this ball club. A lot of people are expecting Michael Penix to be the starter, but hey, let's be honest. We got to see what's going to happen because nobody's named a starter yet, and we've got to really realize that, hey, you got a quarterback coming off injury. He hasn't taken any snaps. We're really looking at trying to have some things just on the better end. That's just me. But going into this ball game, I want to see a little bit more of some of these backups that we have that's going on. We have Cash Jones. We're going to talk about Jack Strand. It's so many people that we got to see that's going to get touches today because if they don't, we don't know what's going to happen with the roster. But I think some guys have already earned roster spots. Hopefully we can get out of this game injury free. That is the biggest thing at this point, getting out of here injury free. But we were expecting to have a Tua revenge game, but I don't even think we're going to see him today. So what I'm looking for right now is just the Falcons to be able to be not just competitive, but to also be in a position to where they're going to make some things shake. We've got a lot of great football players on this team. We just have to figure out what the leadership is going to be like this season. We've got to figure out what's going to be the next move when it comes to making this roster. How are we going to get this right side of the offensive line built up? Who's going to be the starter? How are they going to survive? There's so many questions that still need to be answered. Even though we've had a couple of bright spots on this show, on this show and also with this ball club, we really need to see where Kevin Stefanski's mind is because with Tua's piss poor performance at this point, he's left the door wide open at this point for Michael Penix to take the job. The job was his, and he pissed it away. I mean, that's as simple as I can put it for you. My man just pissed it away. The opportunity for locking up a job was there. You have no one to blame but yourself at this point. You put yourself in a horrible spot. And now you also have an undrafted free agent quarterback that could possibly take your job too. Talking about Mr. Jack Strand, a.k.a. New Jack City, the vanilla Nino Brown, or white chocolate Nino Brown, as we going to call him here. Strand has been pretty good this offseason. Got to give it to him. He's been pretty good. Taking first-team reps in camp. So many of these Falcon fans say, you know what? I'm not even hosting right now. This is me as a fan. So many of you Falcon fans out here are now trying to get on the bandwagon, but then you have some that are just, they're never going to accept him, even if he balls out. Even if he beats out Michael Penix. Yeah, I said it. Yes, I said it. I don't give a damn how you feel about it. I'm just going to call it for what it is. I think Penix should start first, but hell, if Penix doesn't play well, he needs to sit. If he's not ready, you have a guy that might not have experience right now, but he's a gamer. Give him a shot. How much worse could it be at this point if Mike is not ready for the season? How much worse can you get? You got Cooper Rush here, a.k.a. Pooper Rush, in the building that has been a journeyman his whole time that he's been in the league. What can you say about this guy? And for me, I don't think as much you can say about Cooper Rush, except he needs to really be guarding the Gatorade cooler. And I wouldn't even trust him to do that. That's just me. I wouldn't even trust him to guard the Gatorade cooler at this point. Really, I wouldn't even trust him to guard the towels in the locker room. So we need to do the right thing. Just go ahead and cut this man. Go ahead and cut this man. Let him go. He's a veteran. I get it. But again, he is detrimental to this team. If you keep him here, Tua, I get why you're keeping him here. He was a starter, and not just a starter, a possible comeback player of the year. That is how you have to look at it. You got experience here. No, Penix doesn't have the greatest record, but he has experience. Tua has experience. Both quarterbacks are injury prone. I don't give a damn how you want to say it. Mike, pretty much 8 years of football as of late, has missed 5 of 8 years with season-ending injuries. Tua has missed has missed games because of concussion protocol, because of a hip injury, because of an ankle injury. This is college up until now. You got two guys that they pretty much in club tub. If you ain't out on the field, you in the club tub or whatnot, you're not producing. You've got to be able to produce. You got to be in the club instead of in the tub. That's just how that goes. But I'm not going to spit too much more about it. Penix isn't playing tonight. He's going to pretty much chill back in his home state. Tua's not going to get a revenge game because he's going to be sitting. So again, Cooper Rush and then Jack Strand will be playing tonight. Let's talk about the running back spot. We already know we're going to probably end up seeing Goodson, Carter, Cash Jones, Josh Simon a little bit tonight. You'll see a little Charlie Warner. And you're probably going to see a little bit of Austin Hooper, but I doubt that you're going to see much of them. Josh Simon might be the one that's going to be getting a lot of the calls. And then on the wide receiver core, you see a little Branch. You might see a little bit of Chris Blair tonight. I think he should get some more touches tonight too, and some more reps outside of special teams, really just to expound his game. That is what I'm looking for. Defense, I'll say offensive line, backups, that half of these backups aren't going to be here. I'd like to see a little bit more Riley Mailman, who I think could have a bright spot with his ball club. He's been solid so far in his performances since he's been here. That's the young man out of Wisconsin. Now, they got rid of his old teammate earlier this year, but we're in a position now where he's going to try to win a job. He's going to be on the practice squad starting off. But it won't surprise me if he does not get snaps this year. That would surprise me because Jawan Taylor, I wouldn't trust him guarding the rib shack if he was hungry and thinking that he wouldn't eat the ribs. Like, he's just one of those guys you can't trust when it comes to blocking. Look at his career in Jacksonville. They would have never let him go if he didn't have holding issues, if he didn't have those issues. Then you have Mr. Morris, Mr. Wanye Morris. Inconsistent as hell. I'm seeing the right side of the offensive line that really needs to be addressed. Still a lot of work to do. Yes, we can run the football on anybody. That's easy. But can we pass protect? I'm going to go ahead and drop this link in here for you guys. We're going to go a little bit over the roster in a little bit, but I'm dropping the links in here for you guys because definitely want you guys to tap in because this is a session for you, for the fans, actually. When we talk about being able to open this thing up, we want you to come in here. We want you to talk about what you expect. We want you to see the good, the bad, the ugly. We want to hear what you have to say when it comes to making this ball club watchable for you guys. So the Dolphins are beat up. I don't think they're playing any of their starters. What's going on? DeCamus Kine. No, I'm sorry. Let me make sure I say this right. Don't laugh. Dan Cavis Kine. Maybe I messed that up. I apologize. But if I did, forgive me for it. Don't kill me because I just am tongue twisted with that. So I do apologize. No, I'm gonna try it one more time. Dan Cab is kind. That's what it is. I see. I had to reread it. But what's going on, Nando? Welcome. I dropped the link. So if you guys want to pop in, you can. Looking at the defensive side of the Falcons at this point, I see a lot of things that we need to see tonight. I want to see a little bit more of Deshaun Hand at this point. I want to see a little bit more. I need to see Braylon Trice in this ball game. There's a few things that need to be addressed when it comes to what we have. We have talent, but we need to see how that talent performs. That is something that we're looking forward to at this point. We got to see how it works. All right, appreciate it, DK. Thank you, brother. I was struggling pretty bad with that, but you've been a uh, gracious guest, and I appreciate you for helping me out with that. So I got DK in the building, but let's get back to it now. I'm getting ready to pull up the defensive roster, and just want to talk about some things. Another guy that needs to be on the field tonight is Avion Terrell. Been battling a hamstring injury pretty much during this offseason. I need to see more. And I'm gonna be honest with you. I'm not starting him. I don't care where he was drafted. I'm not starting him over Kobe Bryant at this point because we still have to see more from him. That is just me. We have to see more. Mike Hughes, I think you need as much practice as you can have. Darnay Holmes looks like he's gonna be the starter, but I like to see a little bit more of AJ Woods too. AJ Woods has been solid since he's been in Atlanta as well. I think that he's another guy that you have to keep an eye on to really see if this man is really going to bring a little bit of heat to the table. When I look at this defense, I see a lot of potential to be a top 10 defense this year. Period. We have veterans on the defensive line. I want to see a little bit more Carlos Allen and Cameron Sample. When you look at those two on the field together, it's like yin and yang. They're very physical at the point of attack, smart football players, handsy, does not mind mixing it up. And the other thing that you got to look at with the big men right now, they got speed. We have speed on the defensive line. It's not like we just have as what we would call butt cracks or ACs or whatnot, A cracks. I don't want to cuss tonight. I've already said a few things, but when we say that, we're talking about those 300 pounders that can't move, that just sit there and their job is just to clog up the middle. We have guys that can move from sideline to sideline, chase down running backs if need be, with great size. That is what you see when it comes to that. Zadarius Smith is going to get a little bit of playing time tonight off the edge, veteran player. Kendall Daniels is still doing his thing. I expect him to make this roster easily. Harold Perkins Jr., same here. I think he's going to make the roster. Christian Harris, I want to see a little bit more from him because he's starting to get a little lost in the shuffle, but I think he's going to do a few things. When we look at Brandon Dorless, I don't think he's going to get too much time tonight, obviously. I like to see a little bit more of Tutupulotu to actually play. That's what I want to see a little bit more of too, to see what we have. We already know what we have in the starters. I want to see what the depth and the rotation is like at this point. If you don't have your depth and rotation right now, that right there is going to be a disaster for this ball club when it comes to trying to have the pass rush. The pass rush is the most important thing that we need. That is the most important thing we need on this defense to go. We had 57 sacks last year. You look at the fact that you got a lot of players, mixed veterans that are here, but they're not too long in the tooth. Now, Jesse Bates, on the other hand, he's the old silver beard in the room, as well as Darius Smith. You got a couple of the old timers in there, as we call them, because they're in double digits during their season right now. And I think that they've been amazing. I think they've been amazing for being able to play as long as they have. Now, here's another question. In the chat, if you're in the chat, I'd like for you to answer it. I wonder how long Billy Bowman is going to be out for. And when he gets back, how long do you think it's going to take for him to get back into his natural rhythm? This is a guy outside of JPJ. I think this is one of the guys that's one of the most important pieces on this defense. Yes, he's young. Yes, he's violent, but this is a guy that has the versatility of a Swiss Army knife. We already know what Watts is going to do. Watts has already showed that he's going to be a center fielder. He'll come up and hit when he needs to. But I think that we really have a lot of talent on the defensive side. I just wonder how Jeff Ulbricht's mind is going to be able to function with the loss of his wife for the season, because everything might not happen early. But best believe if you've ever dealt with grief in life, it's gonna hit you when you least expect it, even if you're at the workplace. So my thing is we have to be prepared and patient for Coach Olbrick at this point. Brick is one of the best coaches on this staff. Next, him, Nate Ollie, they're some of the best coaches on this staff. And the way that you have to understand it, whoever his assistant defensive coordinator is, he needs to be prepped and ready to go. Has to, because this is a long season. Brick is gonna have moments to where he breaks down, where he's gonna be zoned out thinking about his wife. Yes, you have to focus, but the loss of a spouse, any kind of loved one that is that close, is one of the hardest things in life. Period. I've watched people go through it, friends, family. I've seen it. Hard to focus. And it's not even been a month since his wife's passed. Yes, he's working hard, but we still have to see if Olbrick is actually going to be able to focus during the season. And if he's not able to, I think you need to lean on Nate Ollie, Coach Hood. I think we need to have somebody in place to take over for him in case he has one of those days. Because we have a loaded defense, and he's human, by the way. So I don't expect Olbrick always to be on his A game. Now, if he is able to focus and be on his A game all season long, that is a credit to him because everybody can't handle the loss of a spouse and focus on their job. It's hard. I can honestly say this. When I lost my grandmother in 2023, that was one of the hardest things I dealt with because I was very close to my grandmother, and I was still doing the shows, but my lack of passion was there. The need of not wanting to do it is there, and I felt that. So I can't even imagine, and that was a grandparent who I was tight with. I can't even imagine what Olbrick's mind is going to be going through. So when I look at what Brick is going to have to focus on this season with being able to have this defense humming like he did last year, on top of his wife not being here anymore, that that is going to be the biggest challenge for this defense this year. And this is why you have to have veteran leadership in the on this defense to be able to carry this team while we're still trying to figure out this quarterback situation. Everybody keeps talking about the quarterbacks. When are we going to start talking about the other side of the ball? We don't have a true defensive tackle right now, just to be honest. We have guys that are going to rotate, guys that can play, but we don't have a true zero tech. And on top of that, you're dealing with a coach that is in grieving right now. I think we can still overcome it, but we have to have people in place and we have to have what we call a, a security plan just to be able to have this team in order to keep rolling because Brick is going to have one of those. Brick is going to have many days where he misses his wife and he's going to have days where he doesn't show up. And people have to understand it. Yes, he's going to work, but when I say show up, I'm talking about up here. He can physically be there, but up here, he might not be there. So it's up to Stefanski and his staff to make sure that we have our stuff in order and we pick up the slack for Coach Olbrick when he's going through his tough time. So that's just my little spill on it. I'm not going to get too heavy into it. If you're just tuning in, thank you for tapping in with us. We definitely appreciate you. I dropped the link for you guys in the chat. So if you want to come in here, the pregame meal is not for me just to talk about the Falcons. This is actually a segment where the fans are able to come in before the games, sit down, talk about what they like, dislike with the Falcons, with the NFL. I mean, just a lot of different things that we can do here. But this is mainly a segment that's for the fans. So that's how I'm looking at it. Oh, what's going on, Miss Pam? Appreciate you coming in. Also, DK, you said 4 to 6 weeks with Billy. I can see that too. Nando, let's talk about it. I think Big Z is going to be fine. I see 6 sacks from him this season and glad that he's back to his happy place in Atlanta. I agree. I agree that he's definitely going to be something. He's definitely going to be a very good player for this team, and he's going to be a rotational piece. They're not going to have him being in a spot where they're going to rely on him and wear him out. This is why we have that rotation. This is why we have those young guys. He's going to be a mentor to the young guys on this ball club. So that is what I'm seeing with his sustained success. If I got to compare Zadarius Smith to anybody, I think he's the Charles Oakley of this defense. Longevity and a mean streak. That's what I say. All right, we got one from Miss Pam. I definitely knows what Coach Olbrich is going through. Losing a spouse is difficult. Ryan, his team is his support group. Player on defense side will run through brick walls for him. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, I think we are his support system. And what I mean by that, Miss Pam, I'll say this. I think that reason I say we have to have a contingency plan for him is when he has one of those days. And unfortunately, like you saying, you know about him. I apologize for your loss. And, I still pray for you, because even though years might have gone by, months might have gone by, that loss will never, ever be the same, because that was somebody that was your lifelong partner. So I pray for you and Coach Olbrich as well. I say the contingency plan by having his assistant coaches ready. And this is what I mean when I think it's beneficial for the coaches during the preseason, the assistant coaches, they get their feet wet with calling plays, because you never know what's going to happen. You never know what's going to happen. And you have to have people that are ready to go and they're able to perform even when things are as shaky as a bowl of jello. That's how you got to look at it. So for me, I just want to see if Coach Ollie's going to be ready. I want to see if Coach Hood is going to be ready. And anybody else that might be on that side of the ball that gets that opportunity to be able to get on the job training. That OJT, nothing like it. Prepares you for any situation that you go through. You're going to take some learning, some bumps in the road, but the learning curve is just that what it is. Now, let's talk a little bit about something I saw a little something on Twitter today with Amaron St. Brown talking about our fan base. I got to bring it up. And I'm going to play the video for you today, because this right here
team has the worst fans.
And this right here is one of the things that I mean when I say we got to get better as a fan base, because yeah, we got people that travel and do things. I'm one of the ones who travel. We got to get better at home. We got to start bringing some stuff out here that is going to not only attract the fans, but also put us in a position to where we can actually do a little something. So fair use, fair use, fair use. This is a little something that Amaron St. Brown and Devontae Adams had going. I'm just going to stop it once you hear what he says about the fan base.
Across the country, which NFL team has the worst fans and why? That's a layup.
That is a layup. I want to think. All right, I'm going to give two. I hate the Packers fans just because it's Green Bay. I play for Detroit. But I think some of the worst fans was the Falcons.
Really?
When we played them my rookie year, no one was there. Terrible. I'm like, yo.
Oh, so you looking at it as far as support toward their team.
Right.
Okay.
Because I hate Green Bay. Their fans, I mean, they have good fans for the team, but I hate them.
Right.
But I don't know. Is there that much to do in Atlanta? I don't know. Because ain't nobody going to the game.
I haven't had a personal interaction with them, but I feel like Philly always gets Philly, the Patriots, and then.
So, ladies and gentlemen, as I played that for you, that's Amaron St. Brown. He's been cooking people in the league for a minute. Hell of a wide receiver. Wouldn't mind having him on our squad too, but I love the guys that we got. But what's your analysis on this? Because you got a guy who plays in Detroit right now that literally just called out and said, we have the worst fan base. I don't believe we have the worst fan base, in my opinion. I don't believe that. I really believe we have good fans. I think we just don't have consistent fans. I'm never going to say my fan base is bad. I'm going to say it's some ignorant fools out here. And yeah, I said ignorant fools because there's some fools out here that will just say anything out of their mouth. Or as we used to hear in boot camp back in the day, your soup coolers, pretty much your lips. There are many people who say foolish things out of them soup coolers they call lips. All I'm saying is at this point, when you have opposing players saying this, that's not good. got to do better, folks. We got to do better. Everybody's complaining about this, and this, but what can we do with this fan base? I've seen games packed out. I've seen them packed out, but we don't pack them out when they're losing. People selling their tickets. People don't waste their money, and which I get it, especially with the economy that we have now. But Cleveland fans still show up. All I'm saying is that was one of the worst things that you can really look at. What's going on, Uncle Said? Welcome, 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 my guy. Appreciate you coming through as always. Man, my man Said always talk trash. He always gives us grief. But hey, Said is good people. And I want to shout out to my guy. Got to give a shout out to Jason Roberts and my man Yuri. I call him the mayor of Atlanta sports because he's at every damn game, from the Dream to Atlanta United to the Braves to the Falcons to the Hawks. Hell, I even think he goes to the pickleball games. So shout out to Yuri, my guy. Definitely appreciate you, my brother. Hey, we're going to have to get you on the show sometime. He's been on once, but we got to get him on again. But say it. So you don't believe we have the worst fan base, but you believe the annoying fan base, but not the worst. Okay, I can see that because you're a Bucks fan, because we go back and forth with you. But I would say Eagle fans, in my opinion, Eagle fans are the worst, because you understand being a Bucks fan, y'all are rivals with Philly. Y'all been rivals since the 70s when y'all beat them in the playoffs. Y'all pretty much got it in blood. And then when you went up to Philly and shut down the Vet and went to the Super Bowl that year. So, I mean, I get what you're saying about Raiders fans, because I know you've been out there on the West Coast with them. Hell, I was stationed out there for 6 months. I got to be around them. I don't have no beef with Raider fans. We've had a Raider on this show, Lincoln Kennedy, who was a first-round pick for us and is a very nice guy and definitely does respect the Falcons. But like he said, the majority of my years was played in Oakland as a Raider, and that was what he said. So he'll always have love for Atlanta because they gave him an opportunity to come here, but the situation was just rough for him, and he ended up going elsewhere and making a name for himself. Hell, has a Hall of Fame type career. But seems like that's just the running joke for everybody that leaves here. Well, almost everybody. But getting back to it, though, I can see why Amon-Ra St. Brown would say that, because there were a ton of Detroit fans in that stadium that day when they beat us at home. Just going to be honest with you. So he got to really see the lack of participation. This season, regardless of how stuff goes, I think it needs to be a little bit more participation when it comes to going to the games. I'm going to be at the Washington game this year. See, I hit road games. It's cool. I want to be at home, but I got a little bit more of a distance in the traveling situation. I'm going to the Washington game. Last year, I went to the Jets game. They were close with around this area. But I find a way to at least get to 1 or 2 games a year because I'm all the way in Philly. So I have a hard time with getting there. But I am going to be there for September the 13th. We're going to be in the house. We are going to be in the house. So us going down to Atlanta, you know what I'm going to do? Instead of me talking about it, this is how I'm going to do this. I'm going to let the commercial speak for itself. I'll be right back, y'all. The Birdcage LLC looks to do it again. We got the Falcons Steelers watch party September the 13th, 2026. What location do you say? At Dave & Buster's in Marietta, Georgia.
Now hand me about 4 or 5 little biscuits. I sure am hungry.
On the game day menu, there will be sliders, wings, fries, bottomless non-alcoholic drinks, but we also have a cash bar for those who want to get their drink on, and also we have a full-fledged menu with waiters and waitresses that are going to take your orders. Also, we have on the 1s and 2s DJ Swats in the building. We're going to have former ball players to come through to the party. Your ticket also registers you for a raffle giveaway. Hey, we got to hit this thing hard like we hit the Saints. Make sure you get your tickets. You don't want to miss. You know how we get down.
You either get right or you get left. Go.
Hey, welcome back. Yeah, we got to hit this. Yeah, we going to hit this party as hard as we hit them damn swamp rats, a.k.a. the New Orleans Stanks. Hey, I can't wait to get my foot right between their hip pockets. Ain't nothing like whooping on the Saints. That's just like, Here's my thing. Anytime we beat the Saints, that's Christmas for me. I ain't gonna even lie to you on that. It's a couple of things in this world I take pleasure in. And I'm talking about satisfaction. Beating up on the New Orleans Stanks, beating up on the Florida Gators with my Georgia Bulldogs and Alabama Crimson Tide. Third, whipping on them stinking Grambling State Tigers with them Southern Jags, baby. Ain't nothing like it. I ain't gonna speak on my other sport rivalries, but for football, those are three things that I just look for. Those are four things I look forward to. That's just what it is. And I'm with you on that. Said there's nothing like getting a dub in enemy territory. Hell, we got one on Monday night and embarrassed them when we had a comeback win with Kirk Cousins stealing behind. He stole all that money from us just like he stole the show that night, and we ended up beating Philly in their home. So, again, I understand your personal vendetta against Philly because y'all are rivals, but not as nasty as we are. But we'll get back to it, y'all. Now, here's something else I got to talk about. If you've been reading the papers and you've heard about it, there was a man who decided to scam women, lying and saying he was an NFL football player. Yes, so I know we're going to talk a little bit about the Falcons and the Dolphins, but I got to get to this because this right here, ladies, y'all got to do better with these background checks, man. I'm sorry. He got $1.3 million off of some ducks. I'm sorry. I am sorry. And yes, I'm calling them chicks ducks or whatnot because they just literally, it just went over their head and it just rolled down their back like water rolls off a duck's back. How do you not do a background check on a man like that? And this man was hanging out. I mean, here's the thing. I got to give him his credit because he definitely didn't go after women who watch football. Let's just be honest. He did not go after any women who watch football. That I know because they would have called him out from the jump. The rosters would have been looked up. His college stats would have been looked up. I mean, even if he was in a free agent, hell, Google is free. You can find every football player that's ever played on Google. Period. This man hustled all these women. Let's just be honest. $1.3 million and he got caught up with the legal system. Now we know that he's probably going to pay a small fine to whatever state that he went to jail in. Those women aren't going to see a dime of that money. I think that's the craziest thing at this point. How do you get hustled out of $1.3 million? I got to pull that up because that right there in itself, Lord, I know it sounds bad, but Lord Jesus, that's one of those things that you just sit back and you just shake your head. Like, who does this? Who does this? You hustle somebody for $1.3 million. $1.3 million. And that is one of the funniest things that you look at. I hate it for the ladies, but then on the other hand, it's like, you should have been up on your game. I'm sorry. Should have been up on your game. But I'm not going to get too heavy into that. But he went after the chicks that was working. What's going on? Shout out to A1 Forever Sports. What's going on, Chris, my guy? Y'all check him out. And y'all also check out Smitty Sports Machine. He and Smitty are doing a damn thing over there. Excellent interviews from the Atlanta Hawks, Braves, Falcons. I mean, they do everything over there. They starting to dabble into a little bit of college football too. So shout out to my guys. And no, I'm going to be clear about this. This is no indictment on all women, but this is an indictment on the ladies who aren't paying attention. This is an example of please pay attention, ladies, because that is not good to get hustled out of your money the way that he did. He pulled a slick move. He pulled a Ponzi scheme right there in front of you. With some of the people I know that have played it in, hell, I should have probably got a helmet and did it myself. I'm just joking. I'm not as mischievous like that, but that's a joke. Let me make sure I put that out. It's wrong. But at the same time, I mean, hey, can't knock his hustle. But the one thing that you can say is he's going to be on somebody's milk carton soon playing around with people's money. But I'll just say this, man. That's crazy to me. If you don't know about the story, y'all go check it out. Matter of fact, man, that's all I can say. I'm gonna pull this up, man. This is just one of the, and this is just one of the things that I just sit back and I just say, wow. So, so CBS Sports post this. I'm gonna post the article before I move on to the Falcons because I don't want y'all to think I'm just making this up. This is actually a real story. I just don't find people to be that damn gullible. I see that's why the daddies out here. If y'all got daughters, please teach your daughters this. So I don't normally pull up articles like this, but here you go. Man posing as 49ers players arrested after defrauding women of $1.3 million. As you can see, he's posting this picture, as you can see, of him at a practice squad at a field with a helmet and a t-shirt on. He's walking through the parking lot with cleats near expensive cars with a helmet and some shoes and a phone. You can get somebody to easily take that picture. But as we said before, that is one of the nastiest things that you could ever do. But he hustled them. But outside of him hustling, folks, let's go ahead and hustle these Falcons at this point. So hopefully I didn't get too many laughs out of that because that is a serious situation that really could have been worse. And it still could be worse because if they know where he is and they have people that could do bad things, that won't work well for him. Just leave it like that. Oh my God. What up, Breezy? What's happening? What's happening? Shout out to my guy, Breezy. All right, let's go ahead and get to this Falcons and Dolphins ball game. The Dolphins are pretty beat up today. You're not really going to see too many of their starters. I want to see our starters, at least for the first half. They've missed out on 2 games. Only way that you're going to get better at football is if you play football. You're getting ready to go to Pittsburgh literally in week 1. You're going into a hostile environment. You're going into a place where you need to play your starters. They have a whole new head coach up there. They have a whole new system up there. And at this point, you just have to go with the punches. I feel like Penix should have played tonight. There should have been no handling him with kid gloves. You got to get back in there. I don't give a damn how much bubble wrap y'all want to put on him. Y'all can't protect him from the game of football. No matter what you want to do at this point, he needs to be playing. Avion Terrell needs to get some burn. He's practicing now, so he needs to get some burn. We already know what Jack Strand is going to do. Hopefully he comes in, he stays healthy, because I got a weird feeling he's going to end up being the quarterback number 2. He's going to be QB2. I don't think Cooper Rush is going to even make it. I think he's going to be cut. And it's a possibility that the Falcons get rid of Tua, but I don't even think that's going to happen at this point. What's going on, Coach Brandt? Appreciate you for tapping in, my guy. I don't even think that's going to happen. I really believe that with this ball club that we have right now, you got a good quarterback on the roster. He just has no experience. You have a quarterback on the roster that has experience, that has a bad record. And now that he's coming back, let's see if he can actually shift the power of balance and win ball games when he gets in. But the thing is, Harry Douglas talked about it. Deontay Whitter talked about it on the other show this morning, Get Up. They spoke on it. They said, hey, you're going to have to eventually get over that. And that is something that's going to be tough for him to do, because if anybody has ever had an ACL injury, if you've ever done it, mentally is the hardest thing to do, getting over it. Getting over it is one of the hardest things to do. The saddest thing about it is this. In the preseason, I think he would have been able to get the rust off and he'd have been able to shake the fear out of his system. That is just my idea. That is just my opinion. But here's the other bad thing about it. You risk getting him hurt at this point. That is what happens. You risk getting him hurt. And the one thing that you don't want to do is risk getting him hurt, because now you're going to be playing with an undrafted free agent and your playbook is going to be limited because he's still learning at this point. He's still learning. So my question is, what are we planning on doing with this kid? How do we make it happen? That is my biggest question.
I think that summer he's had in the league that can actually make this throw.
But
He gives them a don't understand.
I don't know.
Especially from the quarterback position.
What I'm gonna do now,
Is this quarterback competition and situation?
I'm gonna go ahead and play a little clip for you, and because I really want y'all to know this right now. I understand business, but I really want y'all to know this. I'm getting ready to put this clip up, and we'll talk a little bit about it before the game starts. So here you go. Gonna go ahead and pull this up for you guys because this was the discussion that they had around the table about the quarterback situation. So here you go. Fair use, fair use, fair use.
That different the now or the future than Cleveland? Because of injury, because of lack of ability being on the field, because of a little bit of unknown or kind of what we know with Tua, neither of those guys right now do we sit here and say that's the future. Michael Penix, I guess, has a little bit of potential. But the question I have, or like the unknown, is Atlanta going to trot out Michael Penix to start week 1? And the last time that he was on the field in a real game was when he suffered that injury, when he suffered that ACL injury. If I was Atlanta, I'd want to get him onto the field to experience hit, to experience movement, to experience bodies around him before I just let him go become the starting quarterback. There's a lot of head scratching that's going on at the position right now.
But that's why they're not putting him out there tonight, because
But they're never.
So this is something that he said. This is something that Dan Orlovsky said. But I'll tell you this here. There was a hell of a lot more said with that. I can tell you that now. There's a hell of a lot more said with that. Because, again, he put that out there. Schefter pretty much agreed. You got Dante Whitner in there. And at this point, I'm looking at it from this standpoint. When are we gonna turn him loose? We pretty much been holding this dude back since he's been here. When are we gonna cut him loose? He's gotta play football. You can't baby this dude. When are we gonna cut him loose? This management in this office, you drafted him to play. Yes, he's coming off the injury. No, we don't want to rush him back. But you have to get him functioning. You have to get the juices flowing. You have to get the wheels turning at this point. Breezy, I don't think Penix is scared. I'm just going to be honest with you. I don't think that he's afraid. I think that Penix right now is mentally in a spot where he has to get over taking those hits. It's not that he's afraid. If you've ever had an ACL injury, that's just one of those things right now that you have to get over. Because I can tell you, he'd be coming on the field with the same problem. The right side for pass protection is as suspect as OJ was in 94. That's just the best way I can describe it. And you put him in that situation, you might as well go ahead and dig OJ up and give him the glove and let him handle business. I at least need to make sure that my right side can protect this kid. Strand is right-handed, but he's had to step up a couple of times in the pocket, and it was against backups. Now, against starters, Strand would have been killed last week. There was a few times where there was some breakdowns where he made plays, but there were still moments to where we know when you have the true starters and the veterans that come through that can go, they would have came after him. So we got to see what Strand can do in the regular season. If he gets that chance, I don't see him doing it, but I can see him possibly being a number 2. I might sound crazy saying it, but you know what? I'm fine with it. I wasn't wrong about Strand so far. I've been laughed at on X by many other people. Said can confirm this. I got laughed at, but the last laugh is on me the last laugh is on them right now. Because now he was picking up steam about being a starting quarterback because of what he can do. Not saying that Penix can't ball, but at the same time, the front office is, I understand it's calculated, but eventually you're going to have to stop breastfeeding the kid. And yes, I'm using the analogy of breastfeeding because that is really how they're doing it. They're breastfeeding the kid. And shout out to the mamas out here who do breastfeed kids, because definitely you are essential to the growth and development of humans that are small. But front office, y'all got to stop breastfeeding Penix. That's the best way I can describe it. That's how I can describe it. If it comes off as disrespectful, so be it. Play the man and get him right for the season if you're going to make him your starter. If you're not going to make him your starter, throw Strand out there or throw Tua out there and let the man sit and get his leg all the way right. Stop being afraid. Scared money don't make no money. And that is what I'm tired of seeing with this organization. We've made moves in the draft. Now let's start making moves on the field. We don't need to hold guys back at this point. That is how I'm looking at it from this standpoint. We gotta stop holding guys back. We have to literally start letting guys go. Start letting them play. And that's the biggest thing that has to be done, ladies and gentlemen. What's going on, Janelle, Miss Elizabeth Jr., JR? Appreciate you stopping through. Here's the other thing I want to make sure I touch on. Special teams. Big kudos to the front office for bringing in a veteran kicker who's like an ageless wonder, who's still hitting things from 50 yards out. I saw it with my own eyes when I went to the Jets game last year, and they beat us in overtime and ended the playoff hopes because we beat the Jets, we go to the playoffs. That's how that would have happened last year. But Mr. Folk, that is kicking right now for us, ended our season. He's been a consistent kicker since the day he stepped foot in the NFL. Hopefully he can actually have the longevity of a Morton Anderson or a Jan Stenerud. If you don't know who Jan Stenerud is, he's the first field goal kicker to get put in the Pro Football Hall of Fame. And he's a Super Bowl champ. Played for the Minnesota Vikings and also played for the Kansas City Chiefs when they won their Super Bowl. And he was part of the longest game in NFL history. And his missed field goal cost Kansas City a chance to actually continue to keep going in the playoffs. And that was something that was there. But I'll say this. I love how the special teams unit is coming around. I love how we're starting to see better coverage on the kickoffs, the punts. That is something that is going to be essential for us this year. We can't give up momentum at all. That has to be something that you question when it comes to a few things. That has to be something that we look at and say, okay, we don't have to worry about losing games because we got a Young Wei Koo in here point shaving. We pretty much have gone through 4 or 5 kickers during the season because of the fact that neither one of these guys can hit anything. That's how I look at it. Said I would post that or whatnot, but I see it in the chat. I'll just say this. Said pretty much says, F out of here. Folk was ass when he kicked for us. Well, I mean, you have an ass organization. So what we talking about here? The Puddle Pirates, I mean, you got your rings. I get it, and I know you're going to say that, but y'all are trash. Y'all didn't start getting good, really, until Tony Dungy got there. Your franchise has been trash, bro. And then you fell off like a bad bag of dope after Warren Sapp left. But that's neither here nor there. I'm not gonna argue with a Yuck fan in the chat. You got the most rings in the division, so I gotta bow out a little bit, but I'm definitely finna keep giving you smoke since you want to come with it today. I'm your Huckleberry, as my man Val Kilmer, God rest his soul, said in Tombstone, one of my favorite movies. But I'll get back to it though. But looking at the Falcons right now, I think Cash Jones is actually going to be a great asset to special teams. If you're a University of Georgia fan, you got to watch him there. Very much underutilized. The Falcons are finding ways to utilize this kid and put him in position to actually help benefit this ball club. That is something that I appreciate with this team. They actually are using guys that were role players that actually can ball, and they're putting them in positions to make plays. So maybe this offense might take off a little bit this year. We got a lot of weapons. We just have to have somebody to be able to use these weapons. Tommy Reese is a guy that, I'll put it this way. I trust him as much as America trusted Richard Nixon telling the truth about the Watergate scandal. That's the best way I can say it. I don't trust his ass at all. And until he can prove that he can be competent and actually do his job during the season and not get replaced, he got fired in Seattle, relieved of his play calling duties at Alabama, and literally has been up and down and inconsistent in his career. He's had games where he's called good games, but the consistency isn't there. But, Said is getting ready to find, so Uncle Said is getting ready to find out about inconsistency because they have Zach Robinson, our old offensive coordinator. So Good luck with that, sir. But getting back to this game, I'm going to go ahead. I did it yesterday. I gave some X factors. I'm going to go ahead and do that one more time. I want you guys in the chat. I want you to give me your score predictions and your X factors. But before I do that, this is what we're going to do for the X factors. Here you go. X factors. Hey, said, I just need to know if you saw the end of that video with Bijan sitting there leaving your boy and his ankles and his jockstrap right in one spot and he walked in on him. Just wanted to make sure you saw that. Now, let's get to it. My X factors for the day, I said yesterday, I pretty much went with K-Dub went with Cash Jones. I said I was going to go with Chris Blair. That's a guy that I love to see a little bit more of. And I want Cam Sample to do his thing. That is something I'm looking at this point. Cam Sample is definitely somebody that I think that could be a problem. I think he's going to be great on this defensive line. I think he has what it takes to make this 53-man roster. I think we have an amazing team defensively. However, I just got to see the consistency on the offensive side of the ball. If we can see the consistency on the offensive side of the ball, I think we got a chance to make some noise. That's just how I feel about that. What's going on, Cujo? Welcome, my guy. Appreciate you for stopping through. You know, you came through and you're getting the last of the peach cobbler right now because the kitchen's going to be shutting down in a second because the game starts in a couple of minutes. I want to get those score predictions out of everybody tonight, just for the hell of it, just to make a little fun out of this. What do you think the score prediction is going to be between Atlanta and Miami tonight? I got 21. No, I'm going to say this. I got 24 to probably 10 tonight. 24-10. I think we might give up the draws at least once, but that's going to be because some of the starters are going to be trying to get the rust off. But hey, that's what I got. Man, the only thing we're going to do is sink that ship with that same cannon that you're talking about. But anywho, we're going to go ahead and shut this down. Y'all check us out at halftime. We got a little something that's going to be going, talking about the do's, the don'ts, the good, the bad, and the ugly. We're going to tap into halftime. And then we're going to have the post-game show, the party line or the benediction post-game show after the ball game. That's for the fans as well. And then you get to talk with the magnificent Birdcage crew. But, hey, we definitely appreciate you for tapping in. We'll catch you on the next go-round, which is going to be at halftime. Y'all be blessed, y'all. Ghosts.